Hi, I'm Leslie Anderson, and I'm a therapist at the UCSD Eating Disorder Center.
And I'm Anne Cusack, also a therapist at the UCSD Eating Disorder Center. And we are back with more DBT skills for you guys. We have been going through a number of skills from the DBT manual. Woo! To help us all get through this COVID-19 global pandemic as skillfully and effectively as possible, because we know it's impacting everyone in a number of different ways, and especially for those of you with eating disorders that are stuck at home, really not being able to maybe have access to the same treatment that you had previously, some skills that you can just sort of use as a refresher when you are home. And like we would say here in treatment, these skills are helpful for everybody, even if you're not in that situation. So the skill we're going to be addressing today is the skill of building mastery. And the idea of building mastery is that you want to do something that is both challenging and also doable. So you're trying to do something that will help elicit a feeling of pride, a feeling of accomplishment, a feeling of like, yeah, if I can do this, I can like do anything. So one of the ways I really like to think about building mastery is doing one thing each day that is difficult and also doable. So for me, for example, during this time, I had previously gotten a number of plants that I could sort of garden in my little front patio area. And I was really tempted to do something like get a lemon tree or an orange tree that seemed like kind of a big undertaking. And I thought about how much more upset I would be if I did something like that and ended up having it die or not go well, or I couldn't take care of it. That would actually only increase my emotions, because doing that might be outside of my skill set. So instead, I started with like a number of small succulents who have been thriving over these last couple weeks and months, and I just have to remember to water them like once a week or so. And I know that doesn't seem like something that might be difficult for a lot of people, especially if you're like a master horticulturist, but for me, sort of a gardening novice, it actually does make me feel really accomplished when I can look at my little plants on my porch and think like I'm treating them well, they're doing well, and it's a nice reminder that I'm doing something new, sort of bolstering a new skill. Have you been doing anything to build mastery, Leslie?
Well, absolutely. And I think one of the things about building mastery is that it isn't about being perfect at something. It's not about feeling like, oh, yes, I have completely mastered the art of speaking Japanese or whatever. It's really just about doing something where you feel a little bit of a sense of accomplishment and you recognize that sense of accomplishment and celebrate it. Mm-hmm. So, some of the things I feel like that I've been getting a sense of mastery from during this time are things that maybe used to not be super challenging, but have suddenly become super challenging. So, going to a grocery store at this point, I felt like a huge sense of mastery when I went to a grocery store and like got my gloves and my mask and like, made it into the store and got some of the things that I needed. And it felt like such a big sense of accomplishment compared to maybe how that would usually feel.
Mm-hmm. And you also want to plan for success and not kind of set yourself up for failure when you're building mastery. So I know a lot of people are trying to cook more and bake more, but if you're going to the grocery store and you're looking for a recipe with like 1,000 ingredients and you're wanting to use that as a way to build mastery, you might actually leave feeling disappointed, because obviously stores aren't going to be as stocked up or as plentiful as we might be conditioned or used to having them be. So just being able to go and get what you can and having that be the way that you're planning for success.
Totally. And having your sense of mastery be relative to the time that we're in right now. We're supposed to be homeschooling our kids at home. And, that's really, really freaking hard for those of us who are not used to doing that and who are trying to continue to work at a clinic at the same time. One day I made homemade Play-Doh for my children and they sat and played with it for literally 2 hours. It was like a miracle. And I haven't stopped patting myself on the back and feeling a sense of mastery about that since, because man, that was just miraculous. Mm-hmm. Was that homeschooling? I don't know. I think they learned something about art in the process.
I'm sure they did.
Maybe.
Yeah, you're teaching them.
Yeah, they learned a lot.
I also think that it's important to, as you're working on building mastery, if you're going to do something continuously. So for my gardening situation, trying to do things a little bit more difficult each time. Because if I continue just planting the same succulents and watering them once a week, eventually that little feeling of success or accomplishment isn't going to be as rewarding. And so just increasing the difficulty level little by little. And like Leslie was saying, I think sort of everything right now, the difficulty level is a lot more than it usually is. And so just really giving yourself some grace for knowing that things that might have previously not been hard are right now. And so even accomplishing those things can give you that sense of accomplishment in building mastery and just kind of letting yourself have that.
Let's graduate you to cacti next. I don't think you're ready for citrus trees.
I'm not ready for citrus trees, but I think I could definitely do a cacti. Cacti?
A cactus?
A cactus?
Yeah.
A cactus. Okay. Well, on that note, we will be back with more skills heading your way soon.